What's good? What's good? What's good? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the greatest podcast on your social media page. Listen, it is that time again for the Black and the Bold podcast. And yes, sir, yes, ma'am, we got another hot one for y'all with some wonderful people to join the show. But listen, you already know here you're gonna hear some thought provoking, some gut wrenching, and sometimes yes, even tear jerking content that you just can't get enough of. But listen, I'm the Bowl. We're gonna get this show started off right. Brother Black, how you doing this evening, sir?
Bro, I'm doing extra well, especially with this group that we have tonight going on, man. So just a little quick intro, and we're going to get back to them. My name is Dwayne Johnson, otherwise known as the Black on this show with the Black and the Bold. We're going to keep it real. We're going to have some unapologetic conversation. And at the same time, we're going to get a chuckle every now and again. I know we're going to get that out of this group because, again, we grew up with a lot, if not all of the group in some capacity, one way or another. So I'm excited for tonight. But the way that we do it over here in the Johnson household is just basically on fire, intentionally FIRE, financially independent and retired early. And that's by way of stock investments and also real estate that we're in at this point, taking in residual income as well as managing for other rental property owners. But anyway, that's basically how we do here, man. Go ahead and I'll slide it over to you and introduce yourself, Brother Bold.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm the bold. I'm the gaudy one. I'm the loud one. I'm the one that's gonna wear the big chains with a lot of cologne. I'm gonna be the uncle at your family reunion. That's just gonna have my hamburger meat out with my hat on, just enjoying life. That's me. But yeah, my name is my name is Edward Mack. From Valdosta, Georgia. Graduate of Lowndes High School, also University of Central Florida. Um, Undergrad in healthcare administration, master's in public administration. Got a chance to jump into the corporate world. Did a lot of stuff. Now I'm in talent acquisition, and we are the new, I guess you could say, we're the new business owners of Legacy Investments in Education, which is also a byproduct of E3 Legacy Group. So we are definitely making moves, trying to step into like my big bro, live off that residual one day, retire soon. You know how that thing goes. But got two beautiful children, man. Everything is going well, and I can't complain, my friend. It's just what it is. Life is good. Life is awesome.
Wow. Well, you really making moves over there.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I'm trying, bro.
Well, we have a lot of longtime friends here on the stream tonight, and I'm going to kick it off with Brother Joseph Moore just to introduce everything that we got going on here tonight. This is the Kings United, and I'll let him give you the breakdown of KINGS, but Kings United. Brother Joseph Moore, if you don't mind, kick us off and then, pass that around to everybody else to intro themselves after you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. And first of all, I apologize, for the slight delay. Like I said, I'm in the spotted area, but basically, are definitely long and family at this point. And I am the co-founder. Basically, and basically what you have in the group is a group of like-minded individuals for the come and go, more organizations have 12 hours online if they want to.
And you're definitely in that spotty area, Brother Moore. And so definitely let's go ahead and pass it over to I think you were referring to a couple of other co-founders with you or either leadership individuals in the Kings United. So if any of you want to go ahead and chime in, go right ahead at this point and introduce yourselves. We want to give everybody an opportunity to do an intro so that we get to know everybody on the live. So just jump right on in, guys, whoever wants to start talking.
Hello, everybody. I'm Gregory Williams. I'm a board member for Kings United Foundation. I serve as the foundation chair of fundraising and the principal investigator of our new program, the School of Prince Charming.
Awesome. Brother Ramsey, are you able to chime in there?
I think you got my mic muted, bro. Okay. Yes. All right. My name is Marion Rico Ramsey. Cool people call me Rico. Professional people call me Marion. The cool and professional people call me Rico Rip, Ramsey, whatever. I like it all. But I'm the secretary of Kings United Foundation Incorporated.
And we did have a couple of other individuals that probably can jump in as they go. But if anybody else wants to jump in as far as that are on, go right ahead and just interrupt us, because I don't think I can see everybody on the screen right now that may be chimed in. If you have that opportunity, go right ahead. Otherwise, Brother Matt, let's go ahead and roll, man.
All right. Well, we're going to jump right into it. We definitely want to encourage everybody to, definitely be interactive. Please share your comments, share your likes. If you don't like the shirt I have on, if you don't like the word choice that I used, hey, let me know. We just want some interaction in the chat, and definitely some support for these young men that are definitely making great moves in the community. Listen, we're going to jump right in. We've been talking in the last show, and now we're going to pick up on step number 2. But we decided we wanted to find something we could fight for our rights, not RIGH, but RIGS. There she go. There she go. There she blows. There she goes. She got this all done up. Right?
All right.
What's going on, beautiful?
Hey, so happy to have our guest on tonight. Excited. It's Friday, TGIF.
Yeah.
We made it to Friday and the weekend, baby. Okay. So glad to have everybody on. Excited to see all the kings on the screen tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, again, I'm Suzette Michelle, native of Valdosta, Georgia, graduate of Lowndes High. A graduate of Valdosta Technical College, where I got my degree in radiologic technology, serving the community through healthcare. Most importantly, I'm trying to create a positive voice in the community. So, without further ado, I'm gonna turn it back over to you, Bo.
All right. Well, good to see you, sis. Definitely glad to see you in the place. I think we have an echo somewhere. So if you might need to, if you aren't on, I think we fixed it. All right, good deal. Okay, well, we were talking about our five rights, and we last show we talked about right number 1 was the right to birth, and we talked about all the different things that we felt were definitely important about understanding to teach our children that we have a right, to be here, but not just to be physical, but to be spiritual as well. Purpose for born, purpose for being named, purpose for your skills and your special talents. We talked about all that last week, but this week we're going to talk about the right of adulthood. And I don't know if you've been able to follow along with us, but we did provide a link the last show. And with that link, it actually lets us know every step that we're going. We wanted something that you all could use with you, with you and your family, even when we were away from the show. So tonight, it is the right of adulthood. And I'm going to jump right in because we've got some fellas on the show that are dealing with this age group every single day, every single week, every single month of the year. So the right of adulthood, according to our African history, says it's the second major initiation rite, and it is nowadays the most popular among the set of rites. Most people today assume the rites of passage only refers to initiation into adulthood, and they are often not aware that adulthood rites are only one set of rites within a larger system of rites. Adulthood rites are usually done at the onset of puberty age, around 12 to 13, in many cultures, and they are to ensure the shaping of productive, community-oriented, responsible adults. That's what we're focusing on tonight. But within the right of adulthood, the purpose, especially for Kings United and all the other programs in the community, Their primary reason is to ensure the proper shaping of productive, community-oriented, responsible adults. Because we found out there's nothing automatic about youth being productive members of society, nor is there anything particularly difficult about transitioning from a child to an adult. This transition to adulthood is exceedingly difficult in Western societies because there are no systems of adulthood rights to systematically guide and direct the young person through this important stage in his or her life cycle. So ultimately, we are trying to do what? We want to highlight what these people or what's necessary for us to do to properly shape productive, community oriented, responsible adults. And with the programs that these young men have that already established within our communities, we're going to delve in a little bit of this process to kind of pick their brains to find out, what's been their motivation, how did they get the organization started, what they have going on, what challenge, excuse me, what challenges they face, and even if there are fees for them to participate. So we're really going to talk to our guests tonight. Again, we have Brother Gregory Williams, we have Brother Joseph Moore, and we have Brother Marion Rico Ramsey with us. So we definitely want to share. We want to hear their thoughts on why they got started. What was it that pushed them for the name? Were they really focused, or were they really trying to, create or shape productive, community-oriented, responsible adults, or did they just want to touch and reach back to the community? I don't know, but those are some things that we're going to talk about. As far as the questions. And I don't know who wants to go first. Is there anybody that wants to go first, or am I just going to shoot them out there and you're going to grab them as far as the questions? All right, I'll shoot them out there. But everybody's already introduced themselves. But I want to find out. I know the Kings United is primarily what we're talking about with tonight. When exactly did you start the organization? What year, if you can even remember, if you can even remember what day it was, what season it was, what was going in your head when you started it? What was it that made you want to start the organization? How and when did you start it? I think Brother Joseph may be talking, but might not be able to catch him.
Yeah, I'm trying to see who's trying to chime in.
I think it's frozen up.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Brother Greg, are you with us? Brother Ramsey, are you still with us?
Yes, they are. I got Ramsey on mute right now.
Okay.
I think that'll be a good question for Ramsey to answer.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna unmute you, Rico. Go right ahead.
All right. Thank you, guys. Once again, it's a pleasure to be here. And as far as the Kings United goes and the name goes, so Joseph Moore and Taurus Patrick was the originators of this. Somebody chiming in?
No, go right ahead. I think, yeah.
Okay, Joseph Moore and Taurus Patrick, with two more guys, was the originator of Kings United. It was originally called Kings United LLC, which they had in mind to actually, they wanted to be a community-based for-profit company, but they had it set up to where it was aiming towards the community and the kids. And so they was already doing non-profit stuff with a for-profit company when I was introduced to the business. So Joseph Moore will be able to help you out on the actual originated origination on the king's name, and what he was thinking when he started the organization, because I came along 3 years after these guys had started the organization. Now, as far as Kings United Foundation, that we became a 501c3 nonprofit, tax exempt nonprofit in November of 2019. And so when I came along in Kings United, we started to tailor the organization more towards the nonprofit sector than the for-profit sector. So we went on ahead and got the paperwork organized and originated, and like I said, we became 501c3 tax exempt in November of 2019. Ever since November 2019, we've been recruiting members, like-minded individuals such as you, everybody who is on this call tonight. And we've been trying to set up programs and set up our financial situations in ways to where this nonprofit, can carry a name, make an impact on the community as far as our adolescent kids go, because we are counseling and we are mentoring kids who and these are at-risk kids, and they are starting from the ages of 12 and they're going to the ages of 18. And so what we're trying to do while we monitoring these young men is trying to give them real life, role models. We're trying to teach them how to be a proper gentleman when it comes to dealing with women. We're trying to teach them how to maintain your mental, physical, and spiritual health as far as psychology goes and holistic nutrition goes. Me, myself, I have a master's in nutritional science. I have a bachelor's in biochemistry. I graduated from VSU and I got my master's from FAMU. And so we're trying to concentrate on these young men mental state, physical state, and emotional state by coming up with programs in order to make that happen in a short version.
Yeah, and if give me a second, I'd like to add to I got some details about the actual beginning of Kings. It was created in 2015 as a result of the Trayvon Martin verdict. We all know Trayvon was an adolescent at the time, and we all know the story. So that inspired Joseph Moore and a couple other guys to get together. I came into the Kings in the mid 2009. So I was a part of the transition from LLC to nonprofit. Once we got into that nonprofit motivation, we had started creating ideas and sharing ideas for programs. And one program we're going to talk about in detail on this podcast is our program called the School of Prince Charming. And Rip kind of gave you a little synopsis of it, where he talks about where we're giving them life experiences, teaching them, just regular things through leadership and mentorship. Our main focus and goal really be a hands-on, similar to like the big brother, big sister. However, we're looking at it more like we're kings, they're princes. So, we're just going to help them by, these young men, great kings.
Well, that's some good information to have, man. I definitely was interested to find out, what was the motivating factor, and that actually would be that would be a good reason, to start something in the community when you have such a tragic incident that we've had to deal with for all this time. And I think it's definitely something that we need to definitely push, to support you all, because now that we know, how and when the organization got started, and some of the focus and some of the things that you really want to do, I think I really want to hear about this Prince Charming thing, because I think that's something that our community is really missing, especially our young boys. But before we go any further, I mean, what are some of the experiences outside of the Trayvon Martin tragedy that really has influenced the mission of the organization? Like, are there, was it the incident, that one incident that said, hey, we've got to do something, or was it a culmination of that plus a few things you saw for yourself, plus a few things you might have experienced individually? Like, what is it that influenced the mission for the organization?
I think it would be a combination. We all as kings, we walk all different types of paths. We come from different backgrounds. We've all experienced so many different aspects, but united, we share and we focus on common goals. So that's basically how you get Kings United. We take these kings with all these backgrounds, different paths. We come together, share common goals and values, and we work towards accomplishing them.
Well, cool. Well, I know that with those influences and missions, I know that's very important because starting nonprofits and other organizations, you got to have something to drive you. Would it be safe to say that would it be your love and passion for the next generation, or is it more of an obligation that you feel like you just got it? What do you think is probably paramount between the two when it comes to kind of pushing your mission forward?
I would jump in there and answer that. Being a community advocate, I have my own nonprofit, and I'm a part of this nonprofit, and I'm also a part of 2 more nonprofits. Believe me, all of my services was either required or people had asked me to join their nonprofits, and I decided to do that because I feel that I have the self-discipline in order to time manage everything. But I think at least for me, it's definitely the passion of trying to see our youth not go through some of the same and similar situations that we experienced as growing up. And Edward, hanging out on the west side of town, it wasn't always the prettiest thing. And we could have been easily been misled if it wasn't for our parents teaching us the proper way in order to remain out of trouble. So we see this on a daily basis coming up. These young men are not learning the true life skills that they need to learn to succeed in America. Being a black man in America, a young black male, where things are proportionately set up to be counterproductive for you. So we have to teach them and not only teach them, show them how to be productive when people are trying, putting you into a counterproductive system. There are ways to do it, but you have to be strategic about it, and you have to be, systematic about everything, that we do and think about. So the passion and seeing the situations, not wanting the young men to end up in similar situations, or being able to guide them into even a better situation, I believe that what motivates us to do exactly what we're trying to do. At least it motivates me, and I'm sure it motivates those other guys too.
Well, that's most definitely what we're looking for, and I definitely want to let you all know that I was able to get brother Joseph on the line on the phone for us, so he'll be able to share some things just through the phone call. Brother Joseph, tell me, what's been your major influencer, as far as your mission for this organization? Your own words.
Well, for me, honestly, my influence, and I'll just say that it basically boils down to how I was raised.
Bring it closer to the mic.
Is that better?
Oh yeah, I'm good. I can hear you all. I can hear you all.
Can y'all hear him?
Hello?
Go ahead. Have it continue.
All right, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, basically, my biggest influence, was honestly the type of environment that I was blessed and fortunate enough to be able to grow up in regards to having those positive male influences around kind of established in order to pick the ball back up and take our place, back in our rightful place in our household and in our community. And like I said, like I was saying earlier, I don't know if you all were able to hear me or not in regards to how the Kings were first established, but why it was first established. It basically came on the heels of the Trayvon Martin verdict.
Right.
I could remember that night. I just kind of felt after seeing the verdict, and it was so shocking, and just so disheartening. I could just remember sitting there feeling heartless, not heartless, but hopeless. I'm sorry, still a little heartless too, but hopeless. For the most part, But I can remember just thinking, man, we have to do something as black men. We have to do something. We cannot, continue to just sit here idle and just allow this to just happen to us. We're getting hit. It's time to start hitting back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with you. I was just agreeing with it. I didn't want to cut you off.
Yeah, absolutely. But like I said, those are some of the things. My biggest influence, honestly, has been the males and the men that raise me. That's been my biggest influence, and I'm just trying to pass that same energy down to the next generation.
Absolutely, brother. I know that Brother Tong is with us also. Brother Anthony Tong is with us, and he definitely has, has a community footprint, fingerprint, in the local area and abroad. Brother Tong, if you would, what was some of the life experiences that you've had, that have kind of influenced your mission? I know you're driving. I'm sure you don't have to turn your camera on, but what were some of the things that life influenced you to help, set your mission up for your organization?
That's a great question. And whenever I park, I'll put the light on so y'all can see me a little bit better.
Okay.
But I think it was just those experiences as a child. I know that I feel like my mother tried to do the best that she could, as most mothers do. But, I was happy as a child, but then as I come to realize there was a lot of things that I kind of went without. But I wasn't able to see it then because, my mother did such a good job at just, doing what she could with what she had. So when I got older, I understood that there was a lot of things that, we were deprived of when it comes to positive role models and things like that. And a lot of the high-risk decisions that, were made on my behalf was just because of the lack of. And then, just me growing up, coming up in the projects, my father wasn't really there. I left my house at 14, my mother's home. And then growing up as a biracial child, still trying to, find my identity and my way and stuff like that, it was difficult. So what I ended up doing is, I looked for people who had the lifestyle or at least showed comfortability in the lifestyle in which I wanted. I didn't want to struggle like most people did. I didn't want to, I remember there was a time when I was in the projects and I just felt like I would never get out because we didn't have a car at that time. And it was just our own little city and we would walk to the corner store. But I just remember being just so scholastically inclined, but just wondering would I ever leave this place? I came here rebelling and now I can't go anywhere. And just, going back to, emulating what I felt like was success at the time and, really not being close to success at all, just in what my mind, what I thought it was. So that with me, that's my driving force in doing the work that I do now because, I'm fortunate enough to see a lot of the fruits of my labor now, but I wasn't able to get my breakthrough till my mid-30s. And I talked with Dwayne about this. We had a speaking engagement that we had the pleasure of being at earlier, but, I always had these talents, right? And I just never had anybody to facilitate those talents. So I've always been a tenacious businessman and an avid talker and a socializer and someone who meshes well with people. But if there's not opportunities presented to people like myself at that age, there's no way to really facilitate those talents. So then we go down the wrong directions. We become part of the system. we join that rites of passage that I feel reluctantly, sadly, that I feel is just a rites of passage for young men in our community to try business, but the first business avenue is drug dealers because that's what we see. So I wanted to be able to identify kids who have those same talent that just need sharpening, they need honing, they need cultivation so that they can reach their full potential, and then hopefully we can prevent them from making some of the same mistakes that we made growing up.
Yeah, I would have to totally agree with you on that. I wanted to read something, about the right of adulthood that I think is important. I've heard from a couple of you all, and it says in Western culture, adulthood is seen as a status achieved at the age of 18 to 21, or simply when the person graduates from high school. Unfortunately, in most cases, there is no fundamental guidance or transformation from a child to an adult that is required or expected. This leave it for chance approach to adulthood development is the root of most teenage and young adult confusion, chaos, and uncertainty. When the youth reach a certain age, somehow they are expected to magically transform into productive adults, even though they often receive very little guidance or any at all. It sounds like you guys are taking up the mantle to banish the confusion, to banish, because Brother Tong, you were talking about you trying to matriculate through life as being biracial and having other factors that kind of cost you to have to kind of navigate or matriculate through life, with some challenges. And you said if you
Yeah,
had
I feel like
some, go ahead.
yeah, in many cases, I feel like I had to, I feel like I had to do more or be extra, and in reality, probably really didn't have to do that. I had, you know, I had. I'm sorry, I'm waving to somebody else. Hold on.
While he is multitasking,
I think he's back. He might be back on. I think he's just about to say something.
while you while you doing what you do best, Tony, multitask. That is another reason why I think the Kings are such a bright light in the community, because whatever path you guys are taking as mentors, you're inviting the mentees to go on that journey with you, and you guys are letting them be a part of your life as you go to the next stage. That's what I love about the Kings United. So whether you guys are aspiring in the political arena or the business arena or whatever your specialty is, in terms of finances, you guys share that information with your young men. So that's what's so exciting about your particular program. Like, a lot of people want to keep their volunteerism and their personal lives separate, but you guys kind of seamlessly mesh that all together and give them a learning opportunity and let them see like all the different opportunities that they could potentially go down. So I love that about the Kings United.
That's one of the biggest things, that we kind of lean upon in regards to symbolism. We want to show our young black men, that you can, go up all of these different avenues, and we do have all of these talents, and we do come from lawyers and doctors and, scientists and builders and masons and, kings and queens. That's what a lot of this has to do with, and that's kind of it's a gift, and it's also a challenge for me, because I'm leading a group of leaders. So how does a leader lead a group of leaders that has all of these different things going on? And we all have all of these different things going on, in our own right. So, but like I said, in regards to how it affects our mentees, it's a good thing, and we just want to show them, the talent that we have and the talent that they can build upon. And I think that Tony is the perfect example. Like you said, Tony is constantly multifaceted. But what I can appreciate about Tony is that no matter what he always present, and that means a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know that with a lot of things, and we've got Brother Felton on. How you doing, sir? I don't know if he can hear us or not. Yeah, he's on. He probably can't talk now, but I know with a lot of the challenges that we faced within our community. I wanted to ask y'all a question, and this question isn't listed. Um, why do you all think that we have seemingly within the last two generations, seemingly we've completely forgotten about our rights as Africans in the diaspora? It seems like within the last two generations, we've gotten away from a lot of things that we held on to for hundreds of years. Having these certain rights, having these certain rituals, having these certain things that we do culturally from generation to generation, i.e., fish fries, i.e., family reunions, i.e., family trips, things like that. It seems like we're slowly starting to get away from attaching ourselves to our extended family. And I think by that detaching, I think it's causing more confusion. I think it's causing more uncertainty. I think it's causing more chaos because we don't have that close knit feeling. Um, what are some of the things that you all are seeing since you all are dealing with the children directly in the community? Are these children seemingly detached from their African history altogether as well, or do you see some small glimmer of hope when it comes to re-Africanizing them, or what do you see from the children you deal with?
Well, for me, it boils down to technology. The more the technology expands, the further that we get away, from our roots, and the fact that they're teaching us zero about our history. We don't know any of our Semitic history. We don't know any of our African history. We don't know any of our native history. We just know that from what even we were taught in school, we just know that we went through slavery and here we are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now that same thing is being taught in school, and now you're competing with the traditional education times technology expanding at almost a weekly basis.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So at this point, it's a tough road, trying to pull a child away, from their cell phone and technology that comes along with that, to sit down with them and get them just to open a book. Let's read this book. That's boring to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So really, to me, it boils down to getting them excited about their roots and excited about, where they come from, because they don't know. At this point, you're dealing with almost two lost generations that we're having to try to make up for. I mean, just completely lost, like they have no idea about nothing about who they are, and where they come from.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say that our generation was lost. I would say that we just didn't have all of the necessary information that we needed. These generations nowadays, they just lost. They don't have they don't have a clue because technology got so big at this point.
Yeah. Well, I would have to ask, um, and this is for anybody on the panel. Given some of the things we briefly talked about, the lack of holistic, comprehensive education, the lack of being able to be kind of initiated into your African history. Um, you know, what are some of the other challenges that you're dealing with? What's been a challenge with the program, with the parents, with the communities, with the participation? Like, what's been a challenge for you in this organization? And that's for anyone.
I'll start with that question. A lot of the challenges are pandemic related. We all going through challenges with the pandemic based off time, space, uh, quarantines, things of that sort. But being the fundraiser chair for Kings United, one of the number one challenges I constantly have will be soliciting funds or getting funding on a regular basis. We do a lot of the funding out of our own pocket, but at the end of the day, we do have a fundraising, chair established for it. So I'm always popping out ideas, asking the guys, throw in ideas because we need to get us into a mind frame of always wanting to receive donations no matter what. Because I don't know if I gave y'all a little bit of my background, but I have an MBA in healthcare administration, a doctorate in public health. So I'm real big on the administrative side. And I was probably one of the major influences in changing this organization into a nonprofit. We could just meet so many more people being a nonprofit. So with that being said, like I said, one of my biggest challenges that I face on a regular with the organization would be securing funding, but that's something that all nonprofits have to do. And I like to share with my guys, I tell the Kings all the time, we have to partner with other organizations. That's one of the number one things nonprofits can do is partner. And by partnering, that allows us to see other opportunities and things of that sort. But yeah, that's one of the biggest challenges I think that, like I said, all nonprofits face, but that's one I just wanted to make sure the world knew we do have problems with funding, but we work on it collectively.
With your pandemic issues, have you all kind of substituted, the Zoom and all that kind of stuff for your meetings? How often do you all meet, through those Zoom meetings?
We meet twice a week on, not twice a week, I'm sorry, twice a month. So we meet every 2 weeks when we have our meeting through Zoom. Yeah, that's something we haven't been able to meet face to face, I don't think, in a few years, almost 2 years now.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else want to share any other challenges that you may have? I think Brother Ramsey may have a comment.
Yeah, for you to look. Yeah, I was trying to get my mic deleted, undeleted or unmuted. I'm sorry. Yes. What I believe, some of the kids, I run through a lot of kids. Like I said, I'm part of 4 nonprofits. So I go through a bunch, and one of the major challenges, and I think all of us know this, is the fathers being out of the home. Like the exact same story you just heard Brother Tong speak about, is that the mother have a hard time raising young men. They do. Mothers have to be very, very strong. Not saying that they can't do it, and many mothers are very successful at it. But a lot of mothers, within impoverished and undeserved neighborhoods have a very hard time maintaining young men. And those young men need men in their lives in order so they can see other things besides the things that Brother Tong was just speaking about, the drug dealing, the pimping, the hustling, the stuff that we see on a daily basis coming up on the corners. We see the drug dealer with the Mercedes Benz, and that looks good to us. We see the drug dealer with a lot of money, and that looks good to us. So basically, with these fathers being out of the home, these young men need positive influence in their lives. Well, it doesn't matter what type of male it is, it needs to be a male, though, in my own opinion. And so that is a major problem, because some of the young men that we run across are very, very have a lot of anger issues, have a lot of identity issues. They have issues trying to communicate effectively. They have issues of not knowing what next year is going to bring for them if they continue on living in the household or something like that they're living in. So these are major challenges that we face with these young men on a daily basis. And so our main focus is to try to show these young men that there are other men besides those who they see can be successful too. And here's the proper way to do it: not by just telling them, but by taking them in there, giving them computer, getting on the book, and showing them exactly how to do credit, showing them exactly how to balance a checkbook or a bank account, showing them exactly how to go about maintaining your mental health to where it is strong enough to endure any kind of stuff that you're going through in this life. And I believe that is a major problem that we face with our kids today, is the father not being in the home. And even if the father is in the home, if that father is not if he's not financially stable, if he's not mentally, healthy, if he doesn't participate in any physical activity, exercises that's going to increase, his whole actual health as a man. And if he don't know how to lead a family, the young man still will have the same problem. And I see this daily when I'm dealing with them and having to talk to them. So I think, Elwood, to your question, that is a major issue in the community, at least with the young men that I run across.
Are there any other challenges, that you guys like to share? Because I definitely agree with what's been shared so far. And definitely have some comments, but I do want to give you all the opportunity to share. I know we talked about the pandemic, that's kind of hindering our face-to-face action. Having fathers who aren't there to support the process, to be, to be that model in the home. Do we have any other challenges that you all have seen in the community? Because I want the mothers and fathers to know that this is here, but they also need to know that you all do deal with challenges, rather frequently. So, what are some other challenges you like to share?
I want to tap in and say I agree with both of those brothers. Like, they were spot on, Brother Ramsey, and speaking about the loss of the male within the household. So now you don't have a particular type of influence. And what happens is you have the mothers that do the best job that they can, but they have influences like tech, like Brother Moore was talking about. But now, instead of learning principles and ideologies and morals, what's happening is during this tech era, when you have that lack of those parental figures or those model mentors, what's happening with these kids is that they're seeking validation through social media and what the trend is. And the problem with that is that, in the type of capitalistic culture that we have, everything is for profit. And a lot of times you moralize certain things, there's a loss of value for the overall goal of profit. So when you create a society like that over hundreds of years, who it's all about profit and gain, you kind of teach that ideology of what it's about: profit, gain, perception. But now you have these young kids who don't have these father figures. They do have, all they have is, time to be on media and Instagram. And then what's happening is that you have these outside influences who are dictating the culture. And what I mean by that is that, just like you were saying about rights and where do we lose our rights at, is that, it's not of value or importance for whatever reason for these younger generations to know where they at, or who they are, or where they come from. And I'm having these conversations about, this year's Juneteenth. And, I'm very passionate and adamant about it being celebrated to the effect that the Azalea City Festival is, or July 4th, or whatever. But, even if we have all these resources in place to celebrate Juneteenth, we have to change the culture in as far as making it cool, because people can know what Juneteenth means, but because they're so worried about the perception or society, or what society thinks is cool, they can understand the importance of Juneteenth. But unless society deems it as cool, or your peers are going here, or this is a function we're going to go to because, there's going to be a lot of people, or for whatever reason, they don't see the value or the importance in being engaged in that. So it goes back to the kids being influenced on social media, because whatever they think is cool, or whatever they feel like is the most likes, is kids every day making crash dummy decisions, all for clout and popularity on social media, to impress people they either don't know, don't like, or will never meet, just because this has become part of the culture. And that's what I meant about letting these outside entities dictate what is important within the culture. So now we lose the importance of things like Juneteenth, because people are more concerned about their TikTok followers. And it's easy to kind of desensitize them to what's important, because you have all these distractions.
Well, that's something that I wanted to really bring to light. And I'm glad you brought it up. I found out that there are two things that a lot of a lot of our young men haven't gotten in the last 40 years. And that's the ability to strengthen their emotional intelligence and their ability to stand firm in their self-esteem. A lot of our guys, when they don't have their fathers around, they become extremely emotional. and they almost have male parts, but they operate in feminine. They're argumentative. They fight quick. They can't critically think. They can't have a disagreement without emotions going from 0 to 100. It's like there's so much that we miss when we don't have men around us to be able to really help us mold and shape that emotional intelligence and that self-esteem. What can we do um, as community members to kind of assist you all in trying to herd our men back to their children, because a lot of times it's primarily with the mother and the father, and the child suffers. What can we do? And I'm talking about black men. What can we do as black men to help our young brothers who are not active in their children's lives to get connected to y'all's program? What can we do? Or what avenues can we take? Or what lines can we say? Or what is it that we can do to help you all get these fathers involved? Or at least try?
I mean, I think that's a good question, bro. There's a lot of different avenues. I mean, I think that it's really just going to take effort such as this one tonight on a more consistent basis. And that is just kind of the piggyback of what you're saying. That's been one of my biggest challenges, is just getting the community support in general. Because at this point, we're going into our eighth year as an organization. And what I've realized is that, everybody want to turn out for the turn up, but don't nobody want to show up for the cleanup.
Turn out for the turn up, but don't want to show up for the cleanup. Gotcha.
But then we'll hop on Facebook though, and we got 100,000 complaints. But when I ask you to put your foot on the pavement, let's go out here, because, and I say that because the cleanups are more than us just picking up trash and putting it in a bag. Number one is us creating a more positive environment for our community. If the community looks good, then you're gonna feel good about the community. If you feel good about the community, then you're gonna feel good.
Yeah.
For me, the cleanup are fellowship.
Fellowship. Okay. Yeah.
They're fellowship because although we're walking from one end of the street and back, that whole time we're pitching ideas. We're having financial discussions. We're having growth discussions. We're vibrating. We're all on the same level vibrating, and our mentees are right out there with us. Having these same conversations with us. So in my opinion, I think that the best thing that we can do is to just try to have more community involvement with our black men, especially in general. If we could just get people to just show up to our functions and our initiatives, then we can grow from this. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I stand on that book.
Go ahead, Suzette.
Yeah, also, Brother Joe, one of the things that I found amazing about that particular project that you were just mentioning, it was like the Adopt the Highway, but you guys, your organization adopted streets that you guys are actually grew up on. Am I not right about it? So, like, not only are getting them involved in a community, giving them a sense of community, but you're also taking them on somewhat of a rite of passage, like this is where I grew up on, so you're showing them like the journey from beginning to the end, like where you was as a young man to where you are now as men in the community. And I think that's totally awesome. Sometimes a lot of us feel like we have arrived or we have made it through our accomplishments in adulthood, but we want to forget about where we came from, our origin. And so that's one of the things I think that we also need to, be very vocal. And your organization does it very seamlessly. You show them where they could possibly start to where they could end up. And I think that's beautiful how you guys do that.
That's definitely one of the big things that we talk about. Technically our doctoral is high policy, but we've also had conversations that any member that has any emotional attachment, to where they came up at, just pointed out that we're going to be there. You know what I'm saying? It's for that exact reason that you just said. Because we could never forget about where we came from. That
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't know about that, but I think I need to adopt my hometown street I grew up on, which is right around the corner from where you grew up. But I think that's an amazing idea, man. I think that's something that we don't see a lot in our community, is us actually giving back, reaching back, taking a real concern about the health and the wealth of the community that we grew up in. And I think that's important because I think that kind of curtails our wanting to sell Big Mama's home or sell the land and stuff like that when we have more of a vested interest, in that community, knowing that if we keep the property and keep it up, then we increase our opportunities for economic development later down the road. I mean, we never know. My family sold, we got rid of probably 15 acres, and now we drive by and sick every time I see it because, time passed and someone took, opportunity for Valdosta to grow that way. And when Valdosta grew that way, whoever bought the land, they came up on a lick, So I think that's an amazing thing that you all doing. I definitely want to be a part of that. Let me know what I got to do to adopt Greenwood, and I'll do that, man, because I really want to make sure that I'm showing forth through action that I'm in support of Kings United, not just with word but with deed as well. So I definitely want to do that. So definitely let me know.
Oh yeah, I got you. I have the latest contact, so that's over that with keeping about off the beautiful. So I'll definitely be in contact with you about it.
Okay, all right. Well, good deal, good deal. Well, what's the target age group? That and requirements for enrollment. What do we need to let these people know about who they are, how old they need to be, and what they need to do to get started?
Generally, it's between the ages 7 to 16. But for me, I'm willing to accept honestly anybody from any age on up to any age, especially in regards to the financial literacy program. And when I say that, the reason that I say that is because, as a culture, we weren't given, certain financial certain financial education. So it's plenty of our peers and people that are older than us that don't have that financial education.
Yeah.
Now as far as the actual mentoring program, like I said, the target age group for that is generally between the ages of 7 to 16. There have been some circumstances, to where I've taken in, 17, 18 year olds, but for the most part, it's 7 to 16. 7 to 16 is who we're targeting.
Would you all consider expanding and having another leg for those that might be 18 to 21 or 17 to 21? Is that something that you all would definitely entertain if you had enough people involved?
Can't hear.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Any of the other guys have any in regards to that? If not, I can answer.
Just a little information on our school development program. We're targeting the 12 to 18. However, we're going to follow up with them. 18 is typically high school graduation. So the goal is once you graduate, we're going to kind of instantly usher you right back into the program for the future youth coming up. So the goal is to, graduate from the School of Prince Charming a King, and now you can become a member of the Kings, and you'll be doing the exact same thing that we're doing. You'll just be carrying it forward.
That's perfect. That's awesome there. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Kind of like Boy Scouts, you go back, you kind of go back as I forgot what they call them now. What do they call them?
Well, they start as a Cub Scout to fifth grade, and then they graduate to a Boy Scout from 6 to 12.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I have a former mentee, man, that he's now ready to be a king and ready to step into the book. Like he's been hitting me up nonstop. He's actually the second mentee that I've had, to reach back, and tell me that, well, I'm ready, man. Like, can I join y'all? Can I be a part of the king? And and like Greg just said, that's really our mission. You know what I'm saying? Is to expand the organization for generations. Like this thing is bigger than us. We're just the first wave.
Yeah.
This is just our whole mission is for this thing to outgrow and outlive all of us.
Well, that's what's up, man. I know that you all have a lot of challenges, and you all are doing the best you can with what you have. But that's why you got connected to the Black and the Bold, man. We got connections, man. You know, we got people in different rooms, man. We yeah, you know, a little something, something, you know. But we definitely want to be a help and a service to you all. So for those that are listening and watching, if you're interested for your son to be a part of the Kings United, ages 7 to 16, and there are certain circumstances they may consider 17 and 18-year-olds, but they definitely are looking for young men. Listen, people, listen, family. This is an organization that's not asking for your money, even though they need it. They need it, and I'm going to make sure that before this weekend is over, I'm going to give. Well, I want to do it while we're on the show, but I'm kind of tied up. But I do want to give something to the Kings United because I hate when people come on and they ask for support and nobody supports them. So I want to make sure that I send my support to you all financially, and I definitely want to be a part of your next event if I'm in town, and even if it gets to the point where I may get an opportunity to start a leg here in Jacksonville, whatever it might be. But I definitely want to, be supporting to you all because there's a lot of kids out here that need our help. They need our voice, and we got willing guys to do it, so we might as well get connected to somebody. So, now I know we talked about the money. Are there any fees for participants or anything like that? Do they need to have that up front? It's just here I am, send me. No, go ahead.
Now, as of right now, it's completely free. Now, I'm not saying that won't change in the future, but as of right now, everything's completely free. All that we're asking for right now, is presence and participation.
Presence and participation. I think that's the least you can ask for from a community when you're offering your heart, mind, and soul, to a cause. To be present and to be supportive, I think is the least you can ask, but also the greatest level of support. So we definitely want to be supportive to you all.
I think it's an understatement to say that this organization is a value to our community. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think people realize the magnitude of what they're offering. Not only, I mean, there is nowhere in this community, and I dare say in this country, that you can get free, participate or organization or a program that's free that offers you so many benefits. Not only are this organization is pouring into your young person, but they're also preparing them for the next stage in life. As we talk about the rite of passage, they're preparing them for adulthood. And then on top of that, there's so many different, as they say, perks. In the community, there's so many different fringe benefits to this organization. Like for instance, our brother Greg here is aligned with the legal service, so you can talk to him, and anytime they have any free legal services, you can see what they have available. I mean, like free legal services, like who does that, right? And then if your young one is on in alignment to going to college and they need some community service hours, you have brother Tony, who is always offering some community service event so that you can gain community services to go on your college resume. I mean, there's so many things. Brother Joe is in the medical field, so he can kind of guide you on the do's and don'ts in the medical field in terms of administration, what I'm saying, how to navigate yourself through that as a Black person in the healthcare community. So, I mean, there is plethora of benefits for this organization for the free. I mean, come on now, people. Let's get involved and let's rally around them and offer as much support as we can. As Brother Joe said, let's be present and engage ourselves into our young people. If we don't invest in them, they are going to be lost.
Let me say this. While we're on this platform, I really want to, give my guys, credit, in regards to the financial literacy program and the mentoring program that they put together. When I tell you it's so solid, I put it up against any other program in the state of Georgia at the least, and you won't find nothing like what we got. new nuggets, you get new diamonds every single month. I'd be willing to put our program up against anything that you can bring to the table. And I guarantee you ain't seen nothing like it. And that's for free.
Well,
Yeah,
that,
not to mention y'all feed the community every now and then. You know, you can get you a little something to eat, you know, every now and then at your events. I mean, come on now.
So you gotta stay through. You gotta stay through it. Though you gotta earn that first. They will give it to you, but you gotta earn it.
I bet you better be right. You got to earn it. You none of that for free, for sure. Uh, but we definitely appreciate that, man, and we definitely want to find every way we can to help and support you all. There's a few things I definitely want us to get into the meat of. I know we've got about an hour left on the entire show, but I want to make sure we get through all of our questions. Not really sure if you guys have anything else to do. You can hang around, stick on the show if you like, because I really would like to hear you guys' opinion on some of the questions and thoughts that we're going to talk about. But we talked about enrollment. We talked about challenges. We talked about you all being able to accept volunteers and how to do so. You guys have a Facebook, and how can they get in contact with Kings United? What are your contacts?
Yeah, absolutely. We have an email and we have a Facebook. Actually, our email is motivatedkings@gmail.com, and our Facebook is Kings United Foundation on Facebook.
All right. You said that was Motivated Kings?
MotivatedKings@gmail.com.
Okay. MotivatedKings@gmail.com. And you said you have a Facebook page. It's Kings United, correct?
Kings United Foundation.
Kings United Foundation. So please, sir, please, man, make sure that you go ahead and subscribe now. Go ahead and like their page. Go ahead and send, let them know through email that you're supporting them. You know they're there. Give them your information. Let them know how you can support. Hey, I can give you 2 hours a week, or, a weekend, maybe a couple hours a weekend every month. Whatever. Anything will be helpful to the program, because 4 hands are always better than 2. So we definitely can appreciate your support. So you found out how to contact them, the ages, the mission, some of the challenges that they've dealt with, the donations that they receive. They do, of course, we'll take that money now. We'll take that bread any day you got it. You want to give it to us, we'll take it. But they do also accept supplies. They do all accept in-kind items. So it's not just limited to money. Your support is not just limited to your Cash App, but also what your hands can do and what you can provide in the process. So I want to make sure that Kings United and other programs make sure that you are out there. We know what you need, how we can support you. Listen, brother, we want to make sure that what else can we do to support? Because I want to find a way to get you all out there even more. Should we share everything that you post on Instagram? I'm sorry, on Facebook. Should we be tagging everything that you all put up and just throw it out there for everybody to see? What else can we do to help get you all's name out there?
One thing I would recommend, or that we would love to enjoy some help on getting our name out there, is partnership. As I stated, being a nonprofit, that's one of our number one goals, is to partner. So anytime someone's doing anything, Kings, we're open. We have an open door policy where we're welcome to. We can volunteer, set up tables, chairs, whatever needs to be done with other functions. So if you guys have, some great ideas or events set up, just reach out to the Kings, email us, or hit us up on Facebook, and we'll definitely show up and show out.
Well, we definitely do that. And I know that through church, there are a lot of young kids, a lot of young boys that come through there that are being raised in single parent households, primarily with their mom. And I know that will be a benefit to them. So I'm going to publicly go ahead and partner with Kings United to make sure any of our boys, if they don't have a father in the home, which I already know who does and who don't, because I'm pretty active in their lives, but to really bring them into a group of other young boys that have those same struggles. Because to be honest with y'all fellas, we got a lot of work to do, and the work we've got to do is the work that we can't be pretty doing it. We've got to. There's a lot we got to go back to. There's some of these boys are going to have to get jacked up like we got jacked up. Some of these boys are going to have that man in their ear. Some of these boys are going to have to be intimidated by some man that's mentoring them. Whatever it takes. we're going to have to make sure that we dig deep to get our boys back on track, because I'm telling you right now, if it wasn't for Brother Dwayne's father, this is the absolute truth. If it wasn't for Hiram Johnson stepping into my life and volunteering his fatherhood, his love and his support and his strength and his direction to my life, it would have been a whole different situation. I'm telling you right now. So I understand the importance of mentorship. I understand how the right person at the right time in your life can really shift, your destiny. So I applaud you guys for what you're doing, because I know this is a thankless job. I know it is. I mean, all that you all are doing. I mean, you guys have doctorates and masters. There's so much other things you could be doing. So I want to tip my hat to you all. But go ahead, Brother Joseph.
No, I was just gonna kind of piggyback off of what you were saying, about how back in those days, we just thought they were being mean. Like we didn't think
Yeah.
we didn't think anything past, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, they do they not like us? You know what I'm saying? we didn't really start to get it. And what we didn't realize was they were playing seeds.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And those seeds didn't flourish necessarily until we hit our late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
And then we turned around and looked in the mirror, and not only had those seeds flourished, we had, in a sense, become them.
Pretty much.
Now, we're speaking the same exact lessons with the same exact energy back into our boys and back into our youth. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's all about. It's passing that torch down. They was passing us the torch, and we didn't realize it.
Yep.
And it's the same thing. It's the same thing, with the generation behind us. We just have to have a group of like-minded individuals that's willing to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I know there's definitely so much that we can really dig into. But I did want to ask you all a question. We got about 29 minutes left. And Sister Beautiful, she always makes sure that we stay adhering to the clock. So we'll make sure we keep our eyes on the time. But I did want to ask you all something, and I want to read it so you all can get it. And this will kind of shape where we're going to kind of close out. The last paragraph on the website, I was going to share it, but I'll wait for now. But it says, on the other hand, African societies systematically initiate boys and girls. Do you all think it is still important for us to initiate our children from one rite or one stage to the next? Do you all think that we should take it as serious as our ancestors did? How they would take them away, from the community or from the village, take them out into the wilderness, take them out into the wild, teach them how to hunt, teach them how to do this, and then tell them you can't come back until you've completed XYZ, which is kind of what they did back in those days. Do y'all think we still should be initiating or having initiations as they move from birth to young adulthood into adulthood? And what does that look like? What do you think that should look like?
One of you guys want to take lead on that? Or? All right. Well, in regards to how I feel, I think that going through that process is an absolute must. Not necessarily. The law is definitely not going to allow me to drop my son off in the woods. I'll see you when you get back. There needs to be, some sort of process.
Yeah.
That they have to, some sort of transition process that they have to go through, in order to adapt to adulthood in today's society. So, whatever kind of initiatives that we can incorporate, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head per se, but I definitely think that it's a way that we can come together as a collective in order to do that. Then I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Like I said, it boils down to, like I was saying earlier, these generations behind us, especially like my son's generation and the generation behind him, they're just completely lost. And they're not going to know how to make that transition from boyhood to manhood. I mean, because what do
piggyback off of what you're saying, Joe, about that. I heard you mention culture, and that's something that is real important with the situation. I think we as black men or the black race, we've adopted everyone else's culture. This is something like I think Ilwa, you mentioned the last 40 years. If we go back during those 40 years, there was a change, and the change is more of us becoming so-called integrated. Where if we look at the time right before that, we had our own grocery stores, our own barbershop,
Yeah.
our own everything. We just completely gave up on our own to share and be equal, and that mentality kind of just erased a lot of stuff out, and
Yeah.
and we replaced it with other cultures things. And like you said, with the initiation process, one thing I was thinking about when you were saying was like the Sweet 16. I think that's a Mexican, Hispanic type of thing where when their girls turn 16, they Sweet 16 birthday to let her know lady now. I think the Jewish people do something, bar mitzvahs.
Okay. Yeah.
Everybody has their own, but we don't have ours. So I agree with Joe. That is something that I think is important that we do have specific initiation for our stages in life.
Well, I do know. I think this is one of the things that I'm starting to realize and recognize in our history is a lot of our history is tied in a lot of religious traditions. A lot of that stuff was taken out and passed along, but highlighted. It was kind of like highlighted with religion on top of it. Like we. I mean, the bar mitzvah is actually our thing. That's really our thing. But because we've given that section of people so much international importance that it seems to be their thing, but we keep forgetting there's a difference between an Ashkenazi Jew. Well, I ain't gonna go down that road, but there's a huge difference.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So they stole everything. They acquired everything. So that's a part of our history. We did have the bar mitzvah situation, which is why in the scripture they said that Jesus was in the temple teaching at 12 because he was getting ready to prove himself. That's all our history. That's who we are. And I think we've gotten away. I think our desire to separate ourselves from religion caused us to also separate ourselves from a lot of our culture because the Bible ain't nothing but a history book of black folk. That's really what it is. And if we can read between the lines and really do some studying, we can start to highlight some points of our history that's really ours. So I think it's important for us to kind of revisit our African history. I think it's important for us that I think every little boy that's capable should have a BB gun, a pellet gun, a survival knife, a compass, a tent, a backpack. Now there's certain things. Listen, when I was a little boy in our neighborhood, everybody knows there's a creek that runs pretty much through Valdosta. If you follow it, it'll go from one side to the next. I was in that creek every day, knee high in muddy water with tadpoles and frogs, and I was a boy. My son hadn't played in knee high muddy water ever. Hardly ever play outside. Like if it was football or something like basketball, yeah. But it's just a whole different type of kid. But when I was growing up, everybody had a BB gun. Some of them, my parents had a little more money, and they had the ones with the air shot in them, the little handguns. Y'all remember them? Yeah, yeah. We had a bicycle. We had a survival knife. We had flashlights. We wanted to go outside and fish. Like we wanted to climb trees. There was so much we wanted to do, and I think we need to get back to that. But I also think we need to also realize that there's a different type. There are different types of men. Well, there's a rogue, there's a rake, and there's a refined type of man. I think it's important for us to be able to identify what kind of little boy we're dealing with, and then be able to help him navigate that chaos and confusion on what type of man he needs to be. Because maybe he's not this big, brawny football player that's, go out there and jump on everybody. Maybe he just might be an intellect who loves to read and loves to argue and loves to be on the debate team. We need to realize that's a refined young man. So we need to push him, to do things, that best fit his characteristics. I think when we start doing that and not trying to have this universal male, but be able to identify what kind of men we're dealing with, because somebody's going to be digging the ditches, somebody's going to be sitting in city councilman, somebody might be running for state legislator. We all ain't the same. But I think if we start approaching it that way, especially with our boys, I think that'll be something that'll really help our boys understand that you don't have to be, this big brawly guy to be a man. But there are certain man principles that all of us should have. Now, I know we've been talking about the boys a lot, but what about the young girls? This is beautiful. I mean, what do you think are some things that we can do for the little girls in helping them kind of navigate the confusion of changing from a child to an adolescent, almost into adulthood? What can we do for the girls?
Exactly. I think some of the fundamental elements of the program are, they're not gender specific. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be a boy or a girl to learn about financial literacy. You don't have to be a boy or a girl to talk about, excelling academically. So some of those things can cross over to the world of female. There are some specific things that are gender appropriate that we need to be telling our young ladies, how to have self value, self esteem, how to set goals, and try how to achieve them. So definitely we do need to speak to our young boys and our young girls differently, but at the same time, the fundamental foundations of who it is to be an adult and the responsibilities thereof need to be the same. But what I like and what I have experienced with the Kings United is that they also open the door up for parents to come in and participate. And even, even if they don't participate, they are allowed to spectate. Because as you gentlemen was talking, yes, we, like we said earlier, we cannot send our youth out in the rite of passage because they don't go outside anymore, so they're not going to survive that rite of passage test. But as parents, we have to be responsible, and be involved in the process of cultivating our young people. Our young people don't have jobs to pay for iPhone 12s. Our young people don't have jobs to pay for iPads and all that. So, you know what I'm saying? We also have to be responsible as parents. It's difficult. They can't have the latest Jordans or the great, the smooth gray Nikes that come out. You're going to have to encourage them to stay vigilant, to see the bigger picture, the end goal. Right now, yeah, those Nikes, those Jordans look good now, but 10 years down the road, you're not even going to remember them Jordans. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, I think there are some programs we need to do. I think we need to mirror that. And we have to be, get back to the tribal community things of doing things, so, collectively, let's learn what we can learn and encourage and support one another. And then, do the huddle break and go off to, mentor our young men and young females separately so that collectively, when we come back, we're going to be strong. We're going to be strong. And everybody's doing their particular role in our community and society. And we're going to be a force to be reckoned with. So, yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, I think the fundamental things, the stuff that's going to encourage us economically, academically, and really grow our community, as Brother Gregory was saying, go back to the time where we can have our own, have our own things in the community, be strong enough to, make sure those black dollars are working for us. They're not going out of our community. They're staying in our community and building upon it, quarter after quarter. So we got to get back to the fundamentals and really make sure we have a hold of what the fundamentals are, and then we can, rise to the next level.
Absolutely.
And brother Mac, just to kind of piggyback off of that, we do have our queen, sector that we're trying to get it. We had it up and running, a few years back, but we're trying to reestablish it now. And Beautiful is definitely going to be, one of the ones to head that up. Her and a few more sisters that we have in mind. So, in regards to our females in our community, they're definitely going to have role models as well to look to here in the near future.
Well, that's what's up. That's what's up. We already know this is beautiful. It's going to be a greater asset. And I want to encourage our women to also realize that you become a benefactor of the beneficiary. Did I say that correctly? The very fact that you bring while you're bringing your children, you benefit as well, because it's going to do something to encourage you, to inspire you to be even more and to become even a better support of your child, because now you're going to see other people pouring in. So it's gonna almost like, a domino effect, cause you to step your game up as well away from the group, which really is just going to benefit everybody, as a whole altogether. So yeah, sisters, get connected, because we're going to have to repair the breaches and make sure we go back and do the things that should have been done while we were coming up that didn't. But thank God we didn't lose our mind in the process. So we got sense enough to go back and help and heal our children. But I did want to bring up. I know time is getting up. 15 minutes left. There's three things I want to talk about really quickly, and I just want you to give me or give us one thing that you would do in this area, because when I told y'all that the systematic initiation of the boys and girls is that's a part of our history. That's just what we've done for thousands of years. But many times we don't teach our children the rules and taboos of society, and so a lot of times we kind of let them experience it on their own. For example, I told my son ever since he was 16, 15, because he looked like he was 22 at 15. He's like 6'3", 6'4" now. And so he would be very intimidating to the wrong officer. And so I told him, I've been telling him certain things about how he needs to react, certain things he needs to say legally, how he needs to say it, certain things like that, because the taboos of Black children are very different than the taboos of any other child on this earth. So tell me one thing that you would give as moral instructions to a child that you'll meet in the community. Let's start with you, Brother Greg. What's one thing that you would give as far as moral instruction to a young man that you meet?
I would say moral instruction, treat others the way you want to be treated.
Why do you think that's important in our community?
Social media. Social media explains it all.
Why did I know you was going to social media? Social media has become a real battleground for people of color, and I think it's sad because it really highlights our lack of love and care for people who look like us. So, we'll bang on everybody online, but when we get face to face, it's a different situation. So it's interesting. But yeah, that's a good one. Treat others as you like to be treated. Brother Joe, what's one moral instruction, one piece of moral instruction you share with a young boy or a young lady that you meet?
Well, I'm gonna give you two quick ones.
Okay.
Well, the first one, I don't know if you and I are just vibrate on the exact same, frequency or what. But my first one is I've always taught my son since he's been about 8 years old how to react in regards to if an officer pulls you over or if an officer confronts you or interacts with you, how to react.
Yeah.
He's often seen me, but not often, but he's seen me get pulled over by the police. I almost got to think I might have drive crazy, but he's seen me get pulled over by the police. So I take those moments as teaching moments, and I react a certain type of way, in a calm and in a calm manner. And it's for the same reason that you said about your son. My son, he's on his way to being, according to the doctor, 6'8". So he's going to be, a very tall and intimidating looking guy. Even now, he's almost face to face with me.
Good gosh.
Yeah.
What are you, 6'6"?
For me, I'm 6'4".
6'4".
Yeah, so the doctor said he's supposed to be 6'8", but I already told him. I mean, you won't be. I shake him up against the fence like, but that's another story.
That's another story, man.
That's another story. But that's been one of the main things that I've tried to teach my son as well. That, and the second thing is to always be aware of your surroundings. As soon as you walk into a room, you need to be aware of everything that's going on around you.
Yeah.
And reiterating back to passing the torch from earlier when we were talking about that, Alan
Yeah.
Always be aware of your surroundings.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, the quick third one is stand up when you shake a man's hand.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Those are small things that we've kind of gotten away from. I know that when I went to college, that was my first time really interacting with people from the North on a daily basis. Of course, you got family and friends that, but to live with somebody who's from the North and realize that they brought up very different than we are. Just for example, one day we had football practice and our coach was from Florida and my teammate was from New York. And our coach was pressing him to say yes, sir. He was like, I said yes. And they went back and forth for 5 minutes. And the coach was upset because he would not say sir. He said, I'm grown just like you. I said yes. And so they went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And just it lets me understand that the culture norms are very different. And we have to be able to recognize those things. You know what I'm saying? And let them understand, okay, well, maybe you weren't brought up that way, but it's still nice to know. It's still nice to operate this way. And so I'd agree with y'all about the moral instruction. Let me ask y'all one more thing. What's one thing that you would share with them with social responsibility? What's one thing that you would tell them about how they should exercise their social responsibility? Or do they even have one? And if so, how do they express it?
Now, you mean social media, or you just saying?
Well, that's a part of your social responsibility. So anything, what would you tell them? As far as their social persona and their responsibility to their community, what would you do? What would you tell them about that?
Well, what I tell my son in regards to social media is that it's not. It's a society in general is a lot different from when it is me speaking to my son. When the granddad was some of that. If he made a mistake, in the social atmosphere, it could kind of just be swept under the rug, or eventually society's going to forget about it. But today it's completely different. So now you got your family's name on his back. So in regards to social media, you got to be careful what you put on social media, because now you got screenshots. And when you put stuff on social media in general, it's just forever. It ain't never going anywhere. So my thing is, I'm raising him to be a thinking man. I always think about what you're going to do before you hit 10. And I always think about what you're representing and who you're representing before you hit 10. So basically, mine is to always be thinking. Always. When it comes to socializing and social media. Always.
Well, so, Brother Gregory, what's something that you would highlight to a youth before we get ready to close out as far as their social responsibility? What do you think is most important for them?
Just basic morals. I'll pick it back a little bit off of Joe. I would say what's done in darkness can come to light. So kind of just give them the impression, kind of let them take more ownership of their social responsibility. Save some things for family, save some things for yourself, save some things. Don't put all your business on social media. Don't tell all your business. It kind of, like you said earlier, it goes to our background in religion. I mean, if you're a man or woman of God, I mean, you're gonna go there first before you even socialize outside of that. So kind of just prioritize your social responsibility. That way you can kind of build your own image in the community versus what someone says about you or what's on your social media, kind of. And it's kind of easy for people like Joe and the Kings because we kind of try to live by example. So we
Right.
take what we do and actually do it. And I'm one of the biggest people that do it all the time. They're like, you don't say too much or you don't post too much on social media. Where if you actually get to know me in person, you see that I'm doing so many things like with my family. I take care of my mom every day. She's like the first thing, when I wake up, make sure she's okay. She raised me, so at the end of the day, she's disabled. So just socially, that's my first priority. Everything else has to come after that. And, I get my blessings, I feel like, just by looking out for my mom first before I, go out and just be with friends or all on social media. Hey, let me see, mom, have you ate today? Do you need anything from the store? Things like that, is what we want our young generation to go back to pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can't even say anything better than what you shared when it comes to having, those social responsibilities intact by also being able to kind of stand firm and realize that not only do we have a social responsibility, but we also have a moral responsibility to make sure that I know one thing I would do is um, always there's a mantra that we have, lift while you climb. Always be an inspiration to the people who you impact. Um, always make sure that you try to make a lasting impression, which is always a good one. Those are just small things that we can do just to pour into our children to make sure that they can find their place in our community. And I think the more that we engage our children, the more we allow them to talk, the more we allow them to express themselves, I think the more they'll feel a part of our community. I think one of the reasons why they don't right now is because we are so stretched and separated and divided in so many different places. But I think if we as adults get ours together, it's just like combative parents. Your children are going to suffer until the both of y'all come to the realization we need to get our stuff together. You know what I'm saying? For these children, I think that's what we need to do as a community is stop all the bickering and the separation and this. We're better than you over here and all that, and just embrace because I'm telling you, the society, it's going to cause us to do it kind of by default, giving all this stuff that's happening. The jobs are leaving. People aren't able to re-enter the workforce. And, with the mandates and all this, there's so many different hurdles that they're putting up. And I think if we're not careful, we're going to be pushed back into focusing on our family, living a couple generations in one home and stuff like that. So I think we might as well be preemptive and making sure that we love our community before we're forced, to have to live in love with them. So I don't know, but do you all have any final comments? Listen, I really enjoy it. I could talk to y'all for another 2 or 3 hours, but yeah, man. But listen, I know we're getting ready to close out, but I really want you all to be a part of our King Talk. Our King Talk. I want you all to be a part of that. We had to take a pause on that, but we're gonna jump back on that really soon, probably as early as next week. And I really want you all to be on when you can, because we need men like you all with the thoughts you have and the involvement that you have and the depth of knowledge and wisdom that you have to share, with the people on the platform. We're going to be talking about everything from marriage to relationships to manhood to sex to everything. We're going to really break it down because men, we need those spaces to talk to. We need those spaces. Oh, maybe that could be a place we could draw some of these fathers in. Once we get them in, then we say, hey, man, how have you been with your son or your daughter? So definitely want you all to do that. So again, do y'all have any final comments before we get ready to close out?
Not well. First of all, I think that what you just said, I think that is the perfect platform, for this organization. I'd be humbled and honored to be a part of it. And just move beyond that. Hey man, tonight meant more to me than what you guys can even understand. Like I'm getting chills right now, literally just speaking about it. You know what I'm saying? For a lot of different reasons. But from me, from the middle of my heart, man, thank you guys. Thank you, beautiful, for having me on this platform. I apologize for the first 10, 15 minutes. I'm out here in Athens, Georgia, struggling. That's probably why my phone won't act right, because I'm on all these board hours.
We know how those Gators feel around Bulldogs. We already know.
I already know. But man, I really want to personally thank you guys. Thank you, beautiful, for reaching out and staying consistent and keeping me updated, on everything that I need to do to keep the guys updated, for having us on this platform. And from this point on, we're definitely excited about building a relationship with you guys on this platform and growing, growth is our main thing. And we're also trying to establish a presence at the college. Ultimately that is one of our big visions as well. So I think that this platform could be the beginning of going up that lane as well. So thank y'all for everything.
Absolutely, brother. That's what we're here for. That's why we're here to share what we have, man. We got a little bit, you got a little bit. Before long, we got a lot. So My grandmother told us back in the day, she said, if you bring the pot and I bring the cornbread, we all got something to eat. So, you know what I mean? That's how that worked. Brother Williams, got any last comments, man, before we head out?
No, I don't have anything to add. I just want to say thank y'all. We definitely appreciate the opportunity to get on this platform and get our name out there. Just keep us in mind. Don't forget about us.
Oh yeah.
We waiting. We ready to be back on. So we gonna hold you to it on that King talk.
Oh, trust me, you got it, brother. You got it. We need some voices. We need something to make them women get mad and go get their own show because they hate it when we get together and talk, brother. They hate it. Yeah. Oh, you already know. You already know. But all right, man. We want to say thank you all for sharing your evening with us, and this won't be the last time we get an opportunity to talk and share. Sister Beautiful, you want to close us out with some last comments before we give our moments of motivation?
Of course, absolutely. I was very honored and excited to have each one of these gentlemen on the show tonight. As you have witnessed, they all bring a different flavor to the Kings. So you get a little bit of everything. And then you notice that a lot of them was working and they was moving. These men ain't just couch potatoes. They taking time out of their busy schedules to come and share and pour into the community, and for that, I am extremely grateful. So I thank each and every one of them for accepting our invitation to be guests on the show. I cannot go into the men's den, but I'm sure you guys are going to have a awesome conversation when y'all get in there. And we're going to be the benefactors of that conversation. So that's exciting. But thank you guys. I appreciate you. And you did not ask me, Bo, what my advice would be to the moral fiber of our community and society, but my advice never changed.
My bad. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I forgive you. As usual, we have a list going for you at this point. But my advice would be, across the board, be the light. So that's multifold. So in order to be the light, it has to emanate from within, and then when it shines outwardly, it can be a beacon to others. So I would appreciate everyone. I love you all. I'll see you next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and come on, chime back in.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Beautiful. Brother Black, I'm sure he's in the background getting ready to cue us up. But listen, we love you all. We thank you for everybody that's logged on. Thank you for all that may have shared some comments or even shared the stream. We really appreciate your love and your support. Listen, we've got higher heights to climb, deeper depths to dig, but there's so much more ahead of us. I got to get out of here. We got to go ahead and wrap it up. But as always, I give you my little Easter speech and I get up out of here. And it's really short tonight. There's an African proverb that says a family is like a forest. When you are outside, it is dense. When you are inside, you see that each tree has its place. I know we've been talking about for so long the rights of our families, the rights of our people, but I think you need to start making it personal and say the right of my child, the right of my grandchild, the right of my godchild. We all are strong, as a group, but we all are important as individuals. And I think we need to get back to realizing that children aren't just there for you to fuss at and raise and all that other stuff. Children are there to help you grow because they are just younger versions of you with a little extra sauce on the top. So I want you to remember next time when you're around your family, appreciate your family, love on them because they're your family. But don't just love on them because they're their family. Love on them because each one of them has a place in your family. I love you all. I thank you all for being here. Love on everybody because you can and because you want to. Listen, I know life is difficult. I know life is tough. But when it gets tough, tune in right here every Tuesday night from 8:30 to 10:30. We're going to have something good for the soul because we love you just like that. Until next time, we'll see you all. But until then, be good to people while God is good to you. We out.